Hi everyone, I'm Sarah, Childhood Finds. We're doing the weekly What Sold video. Sales have definitely improved from the last couple weeks. I've just continued to do the things I usually do. I have been listing more and just trying to keep up with that. I will say that you can tell spring is in. My allergies are in full force, so if I get a little sniffly, that is why. But let me give you some stats before we get into some sales. So this week, I listed 93 new listings across my eBay, my father's estate's eBay, and then also onto my Facebook Marketplace. And then just know when I say that, I would say 90% plus of those listings do go onto my eBay, but I like to include the other ones as well to give me an idea of what I'm doing. And then the total of all that listed value for all those items was $3,210. And so my total sales this week is I didn't calculate it before, I had 78 listings sell, and that was across 4 different platforms. So 69 of those were on eBay for a total of about 2,500 plus in gross sales. And then I also had 7 on Poshmark. I had 1 on Facebook Marketplace this week, and then I also had 1 on Mercari this week. And so let's go ahead. We're just going to get started. And I apologize if you watched my last haul video. I am getting better about using the mic. I don't know why my volume, after years of using the same exact phone, has decided it's going to go haywire. So hopefully if I just keep up with using the microphone and making sure to increase the volume, it will continue to be better for you guys that are watching these videos. So let's go ahead and start with some sales. First one we're starting with is a Sony Lithium M series rechargeable battery pack. And this one was one of those situations where I sent this out literally an hour after the buyer bought it. So very quickly, it was going across the country, as far as it could go across the country. And they messaged me. It'd only been 4 or 5 days since I shipped it. And they started getting upset about basically asking what I'm going to do about it because it has not arrived, even though the estimated delivery time had still not gone out. And I will say the sassy, kind of over this part of me was just ready to tell him to kick rocks. It's interesting how impatient some people get. Because, I mean, I shipped this out as fast as possible. They literally wouldn't have got this any faster unless they had purchased it from someone closer. So it's just one of those things where you have to brush it off. When I get frustrated, I just don't respond for a couple hours to the question, because then I can give a professional response. Otherwise, I'm going to be sassy, and it's just how it goes. But this sold for $20. I haven't heard back from them after I responded, so we'll see how that ends up. This one I wanted to show you because I actually sold 3 of these lots to the same buyer, and then they actually came back and bought a 4th one after. And these are Oneida Aquarius Glossy Stainless. So the Aquarius makes a satin and a glossy version. And both do pretty well. And these are the iced teaspoons. Iced teaspoons are definitely one of those things that on occasion they can be worth a ton in a pattern because they're not as common. But they bought these 3 lots the first time, and it totaled out to $84 for 6 iced teaspoons. This I just picked up on a recent haul, and it's the Hobie 18 Performance Manual by Phil Berman. And it's a sailing book. It just looked different. That's why I looked it up. And I think I only paid $1 or $2 for this at an estate sale. I am excited that I am starting to find more books. And because last year, I really struggled to find any books that were really worth listing. But I'm starting to find a few more this year. So it's really, I'm enjoying it to be able to do that again. This came from Also Recent, and it's an Estee by Estee Lauder. The Estee was the name of the smell, I think, and it's Super Cologne Spray. This did sell for $28.95. It was new without the box, and I have a few dollars into this. So at the estate sale where I bought all of the perfume and all the Jingle Pals and some other stuff, I ended up spending, it was a total of $200 for everything, and it was a great deal. It was 100% a great deal. This is a vintage Dakin Gorilla plush from 1979. I took a best offer of $10 for this, even though it's been listed for years. I mean, just years. So $10, I was happy to take it. I probably paid a couple bucks for it. It's one that I've seen multiple times since this one, and I don't usually buy them unless maybe they have the tag because I know how long they take. And they're bulky. This is a unique leather studio tan leather leaf cutouts and mesh jacket. And this one did sell for the $39.96, and I picked this up at a small estate sale for, I believe it was $1 or so. It's an interesting piece. It was different. That's why I looked it up. This is the Gettysburg Companion, the complete guide by Mark Adkin. Typically, coffee table books I tend to not look at as much, especially war related and etc. But this was one that, it looked good quality and it was sealed. So it sold for $85, and this I got from my source, and it only sold in a couple weeks. This is a Polo Ralph Lauren bird's eye cotton woven robe, Blue Royal Oxford. And so this did sell for $32 on a best offer. It was sealed and I didn't want to take it out of the seal. So I did use a stock photo, guys, but I don't ever use stock photos as my first photo. I know that can cause maybe some zero claims and issues with your listings. So I never use it as my first photo. And I don't use them very often, but on occasion with something like this where I just don't want to take it out of the packaging, I do. And this sold pretty quickly. I also tend to, if I can't find, say, the barcode on eBay, I will go and Google a UPC lookup. I think the website like barcodelookup.com or something like that. And I will go to that website, and a lot of times I can find the items with the UPC there, and then it helps me get descriptors because I never would have typed in like Blue Royal Oxford woven robe. It helps give me a little bit more because I am horrible at describing clothes. I did also want to share that I am trying to work on a research video. So I have one kind of in my brain that I want to start looking at. So I'm going to try, I don't know that I'll get it out this week, but I want to try to get it out in the month of May. I am just very behind in making videos. I will probably continue to lag a little bit on YouTube for the month of May until I get back in June or so. Just because there's so much leading up to when I have to leave at the end of May. So I just might not quite get as many videos done. This one is a lot. It's a Gorham stainless golden ribbon edge 5-piece place setting. And I got this lot off of Facebook Marketplace, this set. And this one sold for $31.96. And then the buyer also came and bought this one for combined shipping at $27. So they bought both of those for nearly $60, and I believe I paid $75 for the lot. This is a 2008 National Championship Air Races Reno, Nevada Security Blue hat. And so this one sold for $14.95, and this same buyer actually came and bought two more just like it. I had a 2011 and a 2012 one, and they came and bought those for $15 each as well this week. This is a Hallmark Easter Rockin' Springtime Egg Laying Dino with sound and motion. Guys, this guy was adorable. I think it sold for $15. I don't know if my computer will play the video, but it's so cute. He rocks and grooves, and you take the little eggs and drop them out, and he basically like poops them out. Yeah, you can kind of see. I don't have the volume on, but you can just imagine the music playing. He is adorable. And he did actually sell after Easter. I was thinking he was going to live with me another year. This is a Boeing jet foil brass belt buckle, and this was a hydrofoil passenger boat, and it did sell it was a sale price, or no, it was an offer around $36 or so. It was 10% off, and it was a nice belt buckle. That's why they can surprise you, because this doesn't particularly look like anything special. And then this is Black Sword Hack and Chaos Crier. And this is why RPG books are definitely worth a look up when you find them. A lot of them can sell for really good money. This one sold for $74.95. This was part of my buy just recently, and this is Estee Lauder Beautiful, and I actually sold two of these to the same buyer. Both were new without the box, and they sold for a total of $40 to the same buyer. This one's fun. It's a jam, racing grannies, crippling speed, wind up walkers, old lady fun toy gag gift. I mean, it's just silly. It was just a silly toy, but it did sell for $15 and it actually sold within a couple of days of listing it. And I got this very recently in an estate sale for probably $1 or $2. Here is some silver plate, because you guys know I whine about silver plate, but sometimes it can be okay. This is International Silver Spring Garden Serving Holmes and Edwards set of 10. It was in nice shape and it did sell finally for $42.95. This came from my Estee Lauder buy as well. This is Sensuous. This is a 1.7 ounce and it did sell for $22.95 very quickly. And then here is Chanel Coco Mademoiselle Velvet Body Oil. And it sold for $100 also very quickly. I think I'm almost touching the profit now on that sale. Getting close. This is a Minolta Maxim AF Zoom lens made in Japan. So I don't know much about this. I just, put into eBay what it said on the side. But it did sell for $24.95 in about a month or 2 months. Here's part of my Department 56 buy. This is the Halloween Caramel Apple Stand, and I ended up taking a best offer for $30. I went and looked at solds, and although I could wait until Halloween to sell it higher, I just went ahead and took the $30. It was a fair offer. And this is Winston Churchill, A History of the English-Speaking Peoples, and it's from Barnes & Noble. It was a 4-volume set, and it sold for $44.95 very quickly, and it was still sealed. That definitely helped the price. We have one more Department 56. The sales on the Department 56 have definitely slowed down, but I do think once Halloween and Christmas hit that I will get most of them sold this year. And this one is Canine Trick-or-Treaters. It was a cute one. It had the dogs in little costumes as well, but that did sell for $20. And this is a Pass Chaplin, Nevada, Daughters of Rebecca Vintage Pin Beehive. This was IOOF Oddfellows. It's the International Order of Oddfellows. And this one was or wasn't personalized. It was personalized. I just showed that in the pictures. I tried to include that in the title. I just didn't have enough letters. But it still sold for $18. This I just picked up at an estate sale and I'm surprised it sold. That's why pricing can really help you. There was 5 or so others of these listed for higher prices, but they'd been listed for quite a while. I just went and looked at solds over the last 3 years and saw that this was pretty much what they were selling for, not in the $50 range like the others were. So this is a Generators and Inverters by Steve Chastain Combined Heat Power Systems, and it sold for $30. And I paid 50 cents for that. This is a World of Warcraft Amberlash figure, and it sold for right around $32. I paid 10 for this at a garage sale, and it did take, I'd probably say 6 to 8 months to sell, so it took quite a while, and it was large, but it's a decent profit. This actually came from the same sale as that, or no, this one came from the year before from the same sale. So this one's been listed for probably a year and a half, but it's an inscribed original Lotus Elite Racing car for the road, and it was, inscribed by Dennis Ortenberger, and inscribed, that typically means personalized. So it's not, usually they'll say like flat signed, and that means it's just the name, but this was a personalized and then signed. And that did sell for around $117. And I don't care that it took a year and a half to sell because it sold for $117 and I had maybe $1 into it. That's why on my sales, you just have to be patient. I am definitely a long tail seller, and I've kind of accepted that, as you can see in my videos, but it's been doing me well. It's, it pays my bills. These were just interesting. They are gripper snap fasteners size 15 and 16. They sold for $9.56. I probably paid 50 cents for them at I remember the yard sale, and that has also probably been a year and a half to 2 years. So a lot of older stuff is moving, but I do have some aggressive sales and offers going out right now because I am still moving things to my storage unit. So everything new I'm listing that can be in a non-climate controlled storage unit is going straight there. And then I am just trying to sell as much as I can so I don't have to move as much that is already listed here. But I've been slowly moving stuff there. So hopefully I can show that setup soon. This is a 1981 Hallmark keepsake ornament Frosty Friends number 2. Number 1 is still listed for sale. It will probably take a little closer to Christmas time to sell. And this one did sell though for $60, and I paid $3 for this at the estate sale, and it'll be real exciting when number 1 sells of the Frosty Friends. This is one I probably wouldn't do again. So if you didn't know, it seems counterintuitive, but cast iron is actually rather fragile when you ship it. So you can't just throw it in a box. I have seen so many pictures of people doing that with cast iron because they look sturdy and it really hurting it. So you do have to pack these very well in a sturdy box with lots of packing material. And this took, I don't know, a year and a half plus to sell. I paid $5 for it at a yard sale. I was actually just about to take it down and list it locally on my marketplace. And then of course it sells and it goes to the tip of the country away from me. So the shipping is crazy, but it sold and hopefully it goes okay. But it's a vintage cast iron camp pot handle lid Dutch oven made in the USA. It sold for $39.96. I probably won't pick these up unless I can find a market unless I see that there's a good market locally for them and they're cheap. And of course, if they're branded. This one was not branded like Wagner Ware or anything. This guy I've been waiting for quite a while to sell, but I knew the right buyer would come along. I paid $5 for it at an estate sale, and it was Kamar King's Collection White Poodle Realistic Dog Stuffed Animal Plush Japan. Kamar is definitely a brand to look for. I have done well pretty much with any of them that I've listed, but this sold for $50. This is another one of those, you don't have to know what you're selling to sell it. It's a Lexicon Alpha Digital Desktop Recording Studio USB interface. This is old technology, but it was unused, and I paid $3 for it at an estate sale a few months ago, and it sold for $31.96 this weekend. And this is my last one I'm showing you on eBay, and it's a vintage black cast iron Christmas Santa sleigh, and it sold for $21, I believe, and I paid $2 for this at a kind of an estate sale. And I got this with a second one of these that's long sold. This one took a long time, but it's a decent turnaround on profit. Here are just a few Poshmark sales. So this one and the next one were a bundle, and this is a Gund musical lullaby Lamb Sheep Jesus Loves Me. This sold along with this one, Designs of Faith Sunflower Garden Plush Lamb Sheep Jesus Loves Me, and it sold, both of those sold together for an offer of a bundle on $24, which I was fine with because these are actually both listed cheaper on eBay, and it wasn't that much lower than I would have gotten on eBay, and they've both been listed for a fair amount of time. This is Animal Adventure Tan Dog Plush Red Bandana Lab. This is from 2004, and it did sell for $22, and it's another one of those things. It's actually listed right now. It's gone through multiple decreases in my store, and it's listed for like 15. It was listed for 15 or so on eBay. So it definitely, I don't lower my prices on the other platforms like I do on eBay, not as proactively. So it worked out in this one. And these I picked up at a yard sale for, I don't know, a quarter, 50 cents or so. And they're Laurel Birch signed clip-on earrings, gold tone, coyote cat, vintage cabochon. I wasn't quite sure how to describe them, but it sold for $25 on Poshmark. That's why also it's okay to list smaller items on Poshmark, because yes, this would have gone at the 4-ounce rate on basically every other platform, but someone still paid $8 to have this shipped on Poshmark. And the last one we have on Poshmark that I'm sharing is a new Creative Memories 12 by 12 page protectors, and it's a lot of 2 of these. Any of the older ones especially, they can sell well, and especially if you can lot into more than one, just because the shipping does get to be high on these. So when you can have 1, 2, 3, and 4 of these, it really helps with the sale price. This did sell for $18, and I got these from my source. And then I had my one sale on Mercari that I haven't shown. And then I had one more on Facebook Marketplace that I will put a picture up of, and it was actually it was a Velda Morby or oil painting. And I've sold her paintings before. She is a local Reno, Nevada artist, and I believe this one was from the 80s. It had been listed on eBay and Poshmark for, I think, probably a year and a half. And I'm pretty sure this is one I got from my mother-in-law for free. And I put it up on Marketplace and someone wanted it within a day. So I am surprised by Marketplace at times. I'm considering putting some of my higher dollar items and things like that on there, especially maybe during Christmas time with my holiday stuff, just to see if they'll sell. Like, I'll give a discount because I don't have to factor in, eBay fees. So I might see how that goes. It's just kind of a frustrating Marketplace is still frustrating to me, but it's nice having it as an added bonus this last month because I've made over $300 this month doing it. So that's everything I have this week, guys. Thank you for joining me. I hope to get that research video out this month, and I have a few other video ideas in the works. So we'll just see what I have time for. So I hope all your guys' sales are going well, or at least improving, or doing better if they weren't doing well. And I will see you guys on the next video.